Ardendale was facing the worst rainstorm it's had in about 3 years. The rain pelted down mercilessly, drenching everything it could reach. There was so much rain, you would think the streets would be flooded with water by now, overflowing onto the sidewalk and even into our yards. To add to the fear of a flood was the loud booming coming from the skies, equipped with angry flashes of light that cracked with every strike. The wind was equally as ferocious as the rain, causing trees to sway and mailboxes to break. You couldn't walk down the sidewalk without being pulled every which way. It was also cold, dreadfully cold, get you down to the bone kind of cold. It was a painful cold. You would think everyone in Ardendale would shut themselves in their homes where they could be safe and warm until the storm passes. That was the smart thing to do, and you would think that I would be doing the same thing. I'm not, though. No, I'm out in this devastating cold, soaked to the bone because I rushed out of the house in only a hoodie, jeans, and sneakers. I wasn't properly protected from the weather, but I didn't care. I had to find her before something happened. She never looked out for herself. She was always harming herself without even realizing what she was doing. I couldn't let her out of my sight because when I did, I worried about her to the point where I almost went mad. My feet were starting to ache, and I wanted more than anything to turn around, go home, and have myself a cup of hot chocolate. But I refused to go until I found her. She would stay out here until she froze to death if I didn't. Hopefully I wouldn't have to look for long. I knew where all her favorite hangout spots were, and there weren't many left on my list. I've been running around all night looking for her. Since she wasn't at the shelter, in the hospital, or under the bridge where her friend Lit stayed, there was only one other spot where she could be. I should have gone to the park first. She loves the swings more than anything else in the world. Well, almost anything else. She loves to go real high and scream at the top of her lungs as she swooshes back and forth. She says it feels like she's flying. She was at the park on the swings, as I knew she would be. She was completely unaware of my approach, as she was too busy flying. I waited a minute or so, watching her enjoy herself. I wasn't sure she'd want to leave her favorite place, but I had to get her out of this weather. "Torrence," I say to her, keeping my voice as soft as I can while still being heard over the storm. "It's time to go in now." I noticed with dismay as she jumped off the swing that she wasn't wearing any shoes. All she had on was a torn-up blue dress that clung to her body. She was more soaked than I was, if that were even possible. "Danny, it's so much fun out here," Torrence said, ignoring me. "I just love the rain. Isn't it so much fun?" She twirled around while laughing joyously. I never liked ending her fun, but I didn't want her to get sick from being out here too long. "Come on, Torrence, you can come stay with me tonight. We'll watch your favorite movie." I hated that I had to bribe her to lure her away like this. I felt like a kidnapper. Sadly, it works, though. I always have to say this to get her to come with me. Okay. She was still happy, which was good, but I knew the happiness was a lie. She probably knew it, too. "Can we get something to eat, too? I'm hungry now." Of course I'm going to feed her. I always made sure she ate when she was with me. I think I'm the only one who makes sure she eats, bathes, and all that. "We'll get pizza," I tell her, "and I'll make us some hot chocolate." We both loved hot chocolate, and we could both use the help getting warm. Torrance danced down the street, singing and shouting at the top of her lungs, trying to be louder than the thunder. She squealed in mock fright, then laughed whenever the lightning would strike. I watched her, and I couldn't help but feel sad. Her happiness was only an artificial shadow of how she used to be. I know for a fact that she's not really happy because I was there when the real happiness was there. Back then, she was always laughing and smiling and doing things that she really enjoyed. Now, the only thing she enjoyed was getting her fix, and it was the only thing that made her happy. I don't really remember when things started going wrong. It happened so quickly. Maybe it was after her dad left, or when her mother started drinking a lot and stopped paying attention to what her daughter did. A lot of things happened to Torrance, and her mom didn't seem to care. I guess she felt like nobody cared anymore, so she turned to the streets for help. She met Litz there, a real asshole of a guy who lived every day of his life on a high. He made her feel like she was worth something. He also became her dealer. She should have just came to me for real love and attention. I would have helped her through whatever her troubles were. She wouldn't have become a hollow shell of the person she used to be. My mom stopped calling Torrance's mom a long time ago. At first, whenever I would bring her home and she was shaking and throwing up from not being on her high, My mom was quick to call Torrance's mom. She would say she was on her way and would be there soon, and at first she really would come and get her daughter. That wouldn't last long, though. After a while, she stopped coming. She also stopped answering her phone. My mom even tried calling social services this one time when Torrance was really sick, but Torrance ran away from the home they put her in. She came back to me every time. So my mom stopped calling people. Now, she just leaves money for me to buy Torrance new clothes and get her food and stuff. She lets me take care of her. She's my responsibility now. The first thing I did when we got to my house was make Torrance get in the tub. I wasn't sure when she last cleaned herself, and the rain wasn't a good enough source for me. She protested to the point where I had to undress her and fill the tub for her. We're both 17, yet she's been reduced to acting like a child because of the drugs Litz gives her. It's sad that I don't even know what she takes to make her this way. At first I thought it was just one drug, possibly heroin, but now I have my doubts. Could one drug really turn a college-bound 17-year-old back into a 7-year-old? I wouldn't know. I never tried. Torrance sat in the tub, watching the water pour out of the faucet, filling up the porcelain area. Much to her delight, I added strawberry-scented bubbles. She laughed with joy as the bubbles started to take their form around her. She scooped them into her hands and blew them into the sky, loving the way they fluttered back into the mass. I turned the water off and leaned against the sink, watching her play with the bubbles for a moment. I'm going to go make the hot chocolate now, I say to her. Start washing up so you can get out. You still have to pick out a movie. Okay, she says back to me. Yet I don't leave until I see that she's picking up the bar of soap and the washcloth I took out for her. Only then do I leave and go into the kitchen to heat up the milk for our drinks. I also put a frozen pizza in the oven. Pepperoni because it's her favorite. When I go back into the bathroom, Torrance is done washing and is back to playing with the bubbles. I let her play for a few more minutes before coaxing her out of the tub and giving her a pair of my sweatpants and a shirt to wear while I go find the extra set of clothes my mother always leaves for her in a bag by the washing machine. She just wants to go pick out a movie. She doesn't want to change into her new dress just yet. I already know what movie she's going to pick. Rent. She loves all the singing and dancing in that movie, regardless of the sad parts that happen. I put the movie in for her, then go back into the kitchen to get her hot chocolate. The pizza had another 10 minutes before it was ready, but she's forgotten that she is hungry. She's too caught up in singing Seasons of Love at the moment to remember that little detail. She won't remember until I set the food down in front of her. Instead of watching the movie with her for the next 10 minutes, I sit in the kitchen and wait for the pizza, letting time go by slowly. I'll give her some time to herself. She won't run away while her favorite movie is playing. I know that one for sure. I take my time mixing the chocolate powder and the milk together too, watching as the milk forever changes colors. It would never be white again, and I find it odd that I'm so saddened by something so stupid. Does the milk want change like this? If it had a choice, would it stay pure and undamaged? I wish I knew the answer. I wish I knew why people did things that forever changed them in a bad way. If I had the answers, maybe I could help her find the person that she used to be. Everything would get better then if I could. Torrance is all excitement over the hot chocolate and pizza. I could tell she had been starving before, and I was definitely sure now. She wolfed down 2 pieces and was starting on her third, just as I finished my first. I wasn't too hungry anyway. I only ate so that she would eat. She lets the hot chocolate cool for a bit, then downs that too, before starting on what is now her 6th piece. I let her eat the rest. Who knows how much she'll eat before she sees me again anyway. The next hour or so is one of the best hours I've spent with her. She cuddles close to me while we share a blanket, and she lets me wrap my arms around her to keep her close. She smells like the lavender-scented soap she used to wash up, and her skin is soft because of it. We don't talk much, but the silence between us is not bad. It's like a silent agreement we have. I know she knows that I will always be there for her no matter what. She knows that I will never give up on her like her parents did, or her old friends for that matter. She also knows that I am a lot better for her than Litz is, and that I will always care for her. The part of Torrance that is the old her will always remember that, and always keep that in mind. but the new Torrance cares more about her fix than my love for her. I know that our time together is limited. We will both fall asleep on my couch, cuddled up like we are longtime lovers, which to me we are, but when I wake up she'll be gone. She'll have her new dress on, with the flip-flops my mom bought for her, and my clothes will be in a pile by the couch. She'll go find Litz, and she'll disappear for a few days before I find her and bring her back to my home to do this all over again. I'll always be there for her. I love her too much to ever let her go. But will she be there for me when I need her? I think I know the answer to that. I wonder if she does too.